YouTube, how's it going? Frogs Angels is back, recapping Saturday and Sunday's action of Week 16 in the NFL. Gonna have a crazy Week 17 coming up. We're gonna break down that throughout the week with videos and in the live stream. But to sum up Week 16, pretty much, I thought, playoff teams didn't look good away, and playoff teams, struggle a little bit, but still were able to pull out some wins. So that's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. We'll talk about each game here. But first, follow our Twitter at frogs_angels. Link in the description. We make predictions on there and we talk during live games. So give us a follow. Be much appreciated. Starting with Saturday game of Redskins Titans. The Titans should control this game. They're home. They're a very good home team. They should come out and easily win this game. It wasn't too easy, even though it looks like at the end of the day they won by 9 points. But it was much closer. Credit to Josh Johnson. Bad throw at the end there, but other than that, played a very solid game. Maybe it would have been a little easier if Mariota didn't get hurt. He's constantly getting hurt now. It hasn't really bothered me too much. It kept happening last year, this year. It didn't really bother me too much. This one bothered me. I guess it was just one too many here. So I think Mariota has a ton of talent, but this just can't keep happening. They have a tough decision ahead of them. Who's their quarterback of the future? Contracts coming to the end after another year. So who's their quarterback of the future? Credit to Blaine Gabbert. He played good, made some good throws late in the game, fourth quarter, and that got him the win. Definitely Mariota's better, but what's the injury situation? Is he going to be playing against the Colts this upcoming day or upcoming big game? It's going to be a tough game with all these injuries for the Titans. They should win this game a lot easier. They are home against the Colts. It should be a good one, though, but this quarterback situation and the injuries might hurt him in this one. DJ Swearinger of the Redskins released this morning. Apparently it has to do with him kind of talking back to the coaches, trash talking to coaches a little bit. He's been playing pretty bad the last few weeks too, so I think that actually has something to do with it. If he was a very good safety, like some people actually think he is, then I don't think he'd be cut. So, I like this Redskins coaching staff. Before they were hurt, before they were really injured, I don't think they should have been a playoff team, but they were going to be easily, very, very easily. Credit to the coaching staff. They have good players, but they don't have any, elite talent really anywhere, but they have really good players. But I just thought there was better NFC teams, but that was wrong. They would have easily made the playoffs. So then they get pretty beat up, and they're still fighting. Even though they lose games like this, they're still fighting with down to their third, fourth quarterback. Whole team's beat up, whole offensive line. And you got guys like Swearinger who really, I don't know if he's a team player. He's obviously the coaches don't like him. So I like this coaching staff. Definitely should be back for another year. Let's get this team healthy and get them to the playoffs. But overall, good clutch win for the Titans. They're able to play. They can play for their division, actually, with the Texans loss, and if they win, which is wild. But they're just trying to go out there and win and play for that playoff spot. Should be a good game next Sunday night against the Colts. They need Mariota, though. Jarrell Casey, maybe their best player, will not be playing. That's unfortunate. And they already lost Delaney Walker and Jonnu Smith, so very unfortunate. But a lot of teams, like the Redskins, have been pretty beat up all year, so the fans of those teams probably don't want to hear about it. Ravens 22, Chargers 10. Like I said, some playoff teams shown that they're not too good on the road. Not the Ravens. Ravens go to the Chargers' house, a hot Chargers team's house, and they let them score 10 points, 22-10. This Ravens defense is something else. It might be the best defense in football. If it's not, it's the second best defense in football. It's very, very good. The pressure, new defensive coordinator just this year too, Dean Pease in Tennessee. So credit to that staff. 22-10. Lamar Jackson played very well. Keep in mind he just came in just a little after halfway through the season, and he's been excellent, getting rid of the ball quick. He wants to pass first, then run, and he's able to do what he does on the ground. I think early on they weren't having him do that a lot, like I said, and they're really going at it at times with that, and it's so hard to stop. You see Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson pair together so well, and the Chargers really, and other teams, they couldn't stop Gus Edwards because you don't know who's keeping the ball. You don't know if Lamar's keeping the ball. Is he going to run outside? Is he going to dump it off? Is he throwing downfield? No, Gus Edwards keeps the ball, and he gets a big hole because a lot of the defense is fooled out of the play. It's hard to game plan against. It's hard to stop, and usually those teams just never happen to have that elite defense, and they do. They do have that elite defense, and that's a team I do not want to play in the playoffs. They have 9 wins. They're much better than that. Much better than 9 wins. Team I don't want to play in the playoffs. I did pick the Chargers, but if you watched our live stream on Thursday Q&A, I was talking about this matchup and breaking it down, and as I was talking, I was starting to feel the Ravens. I'm not going to take credit for it because I did pick the Chargers, but I was starting to feel it. Why? Because Phillip did struggle in that first half of the Chiefs game. And the Chiefs defense, one of the worst in football. Ravens, maybe the best in football, and that exactly showed here. So, and you look at the stats too, and you look at the box score, and you probably will say the Chargers have not run the ball enough. And that's true, but at the same time, they're down in this game. The Ravens stopped the run first, then stopped the pass, and will get the turnovers. So there's really nothing you can do. That's how good this Ravens defense is. So, and they've proven they can win away, and that's what I take away from this game. That's the most impressive thing. And even though their defense is the best part of their game, Lamar Jackson has been very impressive, and Mark Andrews too, the tight end at Oklahoma. And I thought maybe one of the worst, if you remember our draft coverage, I did not like the Hayden Hurst pick in the first round. I obviously still don't like it. And he doesn't really fit with Lamar Jackson, too. That's what didn't really make sense to me. And Mark Andrews coming from that Oklahoma spread offense really does. So it doesn't surprise me one bit that Mark Andrews is playing as well as he does. Hayden Hurst, you got to appreciate his blocking, I suppose. But just imagine they could have right now a Cortland Sutton, a Calvin Ridley, an Anthony Miller with Lamar Jackson right now. I hate on the Ravens right now because excellent win. I'm a believer in them. I would be scared to play this team in the playoffs, but just to think that they may have blown that a little bit. But credit to that coaching staff, credit to that team. Again, I'm not scared for my team against many teams. Usually, not just like specifically this year, but that's a team. The Ravens team is a team that you are scared against because you're scared of, because you can game plan. You got elite quarterbacks, Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes. You can kind of game plan on that a little bit. Watch the film. I don't know how you game plan on this Ravens team, not just one part of the team. Very good team. Like that they can play away. Bengals 18, Browns 26. Wasn't really this close. Credit to Driscoll though at the end. He really came back very good in the red zone there at the end. Some really good balls by him. They gotta unleash him a little bit there. I don't know what their deal is. They're kind of, you've seen it with like young quarterbacks. They don't want to force him downfield. They don't want him to get some too many turnovers and lose confidence. I understand that. Season's over, 1. Number 2, you got to let him throw downfield sometimes, and it seems like when he does, he actually does pretty well. And in the red zone when he throws it in tough throws, they have to be in perfect spots, and he was doing it at the end. If the Bengals would unleash him earlier on in games, they could have won some more games. They could have won this game, but the Browns really dominated most of this game. Baker was excellent once again. Njoku, another good touchdown. Perriman, Lamar Jackson could be using Perriman right now. It's just unreal that he's been clutch for the Browns here. So good game from the Browns. I wish the Bengals would, test Driscoll out a little more just to see the future, even though that coaching staff's probably going to be gone. Maybe Marvin Lewis can't be fired. Maybe he's just a man that can't be fired. But Driscoll, he could be better than Dalton, and that's my honest opinion. Could be. Shows signs. Bucks 20, Cowboys 27. Bucks stuck around this game. Winston, he had that bad fumble that went for a touchdown, but other than that, I thought Winston played a great game. I really gained a lot of respect for Winston in this game, and that might be crazy maybe if you didn't watch this game. If you watched it, maybe if you're a Bucks fan, you know what I'm talking about here. He was all over the place in this game. He wants to win. Out of all the players in this game, he played harder than anybody, and it really showed to me. It really stood out to me in this game. So, and his ability to move out of the pocket and throw is that fourth down. Maybe it wasn't the perfect decision to try to run 4th and goal, but you gotta love the motor, the hearts. You gotta like it. A lot of quarterbacks would not be doing that. So I'm starting to like Winston more and more as the season goes on. I imagine they pick up his option. It's pretty pricey, and they got to get a new coaching staff in there. People complain about the offensive line. Could be better. It could be worse. It's not that bad, but you could use another couple guys, I guess, for depth. Maybe a new plug-and-play starter for Winston. But I think the problem is the run game, which I still can't. One of the surprises is Ronald Jones. The season's over. I wish you just give him the ball 20 times a game, see what happens. So very unfortunate there. It could use some defensive help too around Winston, even though defense is different from offense. It goes together. It affects the quarterback's play, whether you believe it or not. It does. So I like what I saw from Winston, but good win for the Cowboys, clinched the division. Randy Gregory with that strip sack. I was a big believer in him out of Nebraska. Off the field issues kept him out, of course, and now he's back. He's a very good talent. When a guy sits out for that long, he starts to lose it, and he's still got it, and it's going to keep coming back. Jalen Smith, everywhere in this game, everywhere. Gotta love it. Excellent player. But yeah, that was pretty much it. I didn't agree with the Cowboys in the red zone try to do a kind of an end around to Amari Cooper. Did not like that play. That stood out to me. Did not like that play one bit. It's even, number one, that's not Cooper's game. That's not his style. You don't do that to him. Number two, just the way the play was designed. Everyone was in the backfield for the quarterback. By the time he's handing it off, and he's pretty much in the same area, Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott, so it's not too hard for the defense. They're not like that play design whatsoever. They still won the game. A couple calls I didn't agree with in this one, which didn't really matter because I thought they were, against the Cowboys that I didn't like, I should say. Adam Humphries gets a catch, big hits, clean hit, good football hit. They throw the flag. Very disappointing. And I don't know what it was. It was a delay of game on the Bucs. And I don't know what they called. Was it on DeMarcus Lawrence? The official said delay of game on the defense. I don't know if he meant to say offsides on the defense because they were talking about his hand coming across. I haven't seen that. I guess his hand coming across is the right call, offsides, if that was what the call they made. You can't really understand refs this year. They don't really know what they're talking about. But it is the right call, but I'm not sure why they didn't throw the flag then. They waited till the delay of game, threw the flag. They had a discussion. I don't really understand it. Just don't understand it. So Cowboys still get the win. Again, what I took away from this game mainly, even though the Cowboys won and clinched, was I liked Winston's game in this game. I did. So moving on. Vikings 27, Lions 9. Very ugly early for the Vikings. They could not get a first down. Yeah, they didn't have great field positions. Could not get a first down. Team looked awful. Offense looked awful, really. But then they picked it up. I think at the end of the half, that Hail Mary to Kyle Rudolph really changed momentum and what helped them win the game. Really helped them turn around for the second half. Once again, I never agree with it, even when I was young. Never agree with putting a receiver back on a Hail Mary. These defensive backs made the NFL. They made it to the NFL. You pay them to play defensive back. I don't understand the thinking. It's different. Galladay is excellent. He's a future top 10 easily. Maybe next year, top 10 receiver. Put him back there. Don't agree with it. And everyone was saying when the Patriots did it with Gronk, yeah, Gronk's a little worse than putting Galladay back there. But people were saying if Patricia was there, he would not allow it to happen. Well, he just did it. So not good there. I don't really understand playing Stafford in this game for the Lions. Number one, the Vikings sacked him 10 times. They got 9 sacks last week. So that and he was questionable. So that kind of popped in everyone's head. Should they even play him? But they went in this game, they played him, and it's almost like they didn't try. They were running the ball way too much. 3rd and longs, just run the ball. They weren't having to drop all the way back. It was only quick stuff. They would not go for it on 4th down when they had opportunities. But then when the game's over, they're at their own 10-yard line. They're going for it. It's almost like they didn't try full go with their game plan, with their play calling, decision making. I don't get the point of playing Stafford. Not at all, not even a little bit, saying Castle's better than Stafford. Not even close. But they had a better chance playing Castle in this game because they probably would have tried. It was almost like, obviously they went out there and tried to win, but with the game plan, it was almost like they didn't try, and it was pretty pathetic, honestly. They just didn't want Stafford to get hit, and it showed. They ran it too much. Lions fans were booing it. They know it. Very interesting. But, yeah, slow offense start for the Vikings. Rudy came up clutch. Kirk was pretty solid there in the second half. They got great field position in the second half. A lot ends up being field goals. That needs to, when you're going to go play a team like the Bears next week, or if they make the playoffs, maybe they got to play the Bears again. I don't know who you're playing exactly right now. You got to turn those into touchdowns. The Lions been playing pretty good defense. Credit to them in the first half on the defense. First quarter, really. Very impressive. But I thought Anthony Barr was outstanding in this game too. He's starting to get healthier and healthier after he's been out for a while. So, I don't know if he should have made the Pro Bowl because he played pretty poor the first 4 weeks and then missed some games. But right now, last 2 weeks is what the real Anthony Barr, like the Pro Bowl Anthony Barr, even though I don't know if he should have made it based on this year. But impressive game from him. Big game against the Bears next week. Luckily they're home. Win, you're in. Don't worry about what the Eagles do. Giants 27, Colts 28. Here's another example of a playoff caliber team not playing their game whatsoever, but still winning. Is that good? Is that bad? You didn't play your game, but you still won. If you play your game, you would win easy. That sounds like a positive, but this happens to the Colts sometimes against the Jags. Other games, it was sloppy early on, and Luck's got to be more consistent. Especially when you go play better teams, got to be more consistent. 1 week looks like an MVP. Another week looks like this. Credit to him in the second half. T.Y. Hilton again came up big. Hines had a big catch there late. It was ridiculous. Looked like a wide receiver. But Luck, one interception was in the right corner of the end zone. And I understand, miscommunication, not being on the same page as your receiver, whoever it is. But that interception, there was no receiver anywhere in sight. So stuff like that can't happen if you want to be in the playoffs. And it would make sense for the rest of the Colts team to have mistakes like that because they're very young. But Luck's the guy. I know he's been out for a while, but it shouldn't happen. The mistakes like that shouldn't happen. Come away with a win. Good comeback. We've seen them, similar situation with the Dolphins game. Did not look themselves. They came back. They still won. So great second half team. They got to play a little better, though. A little better. But they needed that win. They're fighting the Titans for that spot. They seem to have a matchup advantage against the Titans in the past. And the Titans are a little beat up. So even though it's in Tennessee on Sunday, that game's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun game. Can't wait for that. Jags 17, Dolphins 7, maybe a shocker. Dolphins are home. They have great home field advantage, but they score on the first drive of the game. That's about it. Maybe it's time to move on from that coaching staff. Maybe it's time to move on from Tannehill. I think Tannehill was pretty good. I think too many injuries. Too many injuries, too, where I don't want to call him out because you can't really say if it's him or the coaching staff or the medical staff. But too many injuries where you feel like he actually could play and he ends up sitting out. You sit out, you get a little rusty. I think you lose a little. And I think that's the case here. I don't think he's as good as he once was or as he was supposed to be, and that goes into it. Credit to the Jags for winning this game. Kessler gets hurt. Bortles comes in. I think Bortles is better all along, not that I'm high on him. He starts next week. Jags have a chance to spoil the Texans' division, possibly. That's crazy. But we'll see. It's in Houston, so it's going to be tough, but I'm sure they'll want to win that game, I'm sure. Bortles will want to win that game if he gets the opportunity. Bills and Patriots. The storyline of this game was two quarterbacks that were missing very, very easy throws, very routine throws. Josh Allen, you understand, even though he's young, he has the arm. You got to make too much arm, really. Kind of overthrown a lot. On the other hand, Brady was underthrown a lot. Brady just looks like he's at that point where, his head is in the right spot, but his arm, I guess the aging process, it's just not there, and that happens to other quarterbacks as they age. We just didn't think it would happen with Brady, but we also didn't see enough of it this year to say for sure that's what's going on, and we didn't see, Big Tom in the playoffs. I think he's going to come to play in the playoffs. Maybe he won't be the same as the last few years, but another example, the Patriots played pretty bad. Really, it was just Brady that didn't play good, honestly, and they still won the game by 12 points. I thought their playmakers showed up. Sony Michel was awesome. Cordero Patterson, athletic freak, a weapon. Use him more. James White. Edelman, ridiculous touchdown. Great awareness. Way to stay up on that. That was insane. Josh Allen did not play a good game in this one. As bad as Brady was playing, they only can score 12 points, and they still lose by 12. But still in the rebuild process, not a huge deal. Packers 44, Jets 38. Shootout, good comeback from the Packers. Rodgers looked 100% healthy to me. I don't know. I kind of don't like that excuse during the whole year that he was hurt. I don't think it's legitimate anymore. But good game for him. Good game for Devontae Adams. A couple other guys. Jamal Williams stepped up. The Jets had this game. Darnold, I don't like Darnold. He didn't have a good year, but and he's a rookie, so it's okay. And he doesn't have weapons, so it's okay. But the last few weeks, he's been excellent. So that's good going forward. Good potential there. He's been excellent the last few weeks. Elijah McGuire, Herndon, a couple guys stepping. Andre Roberts, maybe the best returner in football this year, was excellent. Kept them in that game the whole way. And then, after the game, they're saying that the Jets, the officiating was on the Packers' side, Todd Bowles. So I kind of agree with them. I think the Packers I kind of agree to disagree here. I think the Packers were getting second chances a lot, getting away with a lot of calls to help them in that game. But it's at the same time, what would be the reason to be on the Packers side for the officials? Season's over. I don't see a reason. I think it was just a poorly officiated game, bottom line. It's not like they were against the Jets or anything. So there's really no reason to be on anybody's side here or against anybody. It was just poor officiating. Another example. This week was pretty bad overall. I usually go on rants, but I'm kind of sick of it. It's just pretty obvious at this point the officials are very bad. But this game didn't really mean much, but both offenses were solid. Shows good potential for Sam Darnold the last few weeks. Texans, Eagles, 30-32. You look at the stats for Watson. He looked outstanding, 4 total touchdowns. He looked good by looking at the stats, and he was very clutch at the end. That was excellent, some big plays. But, he missed some throws, or he had even some throws that were completed that I did not like at all, and his movement in the pocket I didn't like at all, even though he was escaping sacks. He was acting like he had no time at this game, in this game constantly, over and over again, and he had time. I guess he was used to early in the year he's getting hit a lot. It's young offensive line, but I guess he's used to that. But that's not good. He's got to stay in that pocket. If he can roll out and throw, then he can roll out and throw. But it was like panic situations, like he's about to get sacked, and it was really weird because he wasn't anywhere near getting sacked, and then he underthrew a lot in crucial downs, third downs. There was a fourth down. He completed it, but it was well short. No point to making that throw. You're better off throwing up to DeAndre Hopkins, and getting a pick would be better. So, yeah, I didn't really like, even though the stats show, and he was very clutch, there was some key moments that he would like to have back, I think, even though he didn't have turnovers, or he had the fumble, actually, which was bad. And he got pressured, but it was too much panicking early, which I think caused that. Texans defense, though, was a mess, absolute mess in this one. And this is where I kept scratching my head saying, how is this team a 10-win team? They could not tackle. And that gave up a lot of not just big plays, but touchdowns. Mind blowing at times. If you watch the NFL Red Zone channel at the end of the show, they do a touchdown montage, and I couldn't tell if it was a touchdown montage or if it was a Texans tackling blooper. That's literally how bad it was. Good team like this team this year, but they didn't look like a 10-win team this year, and they showed that they can't play away like a lot of these teams. And they were in this game, and they could have won that game with the tackling. I don't really agree with the Clowney roughing the passer because he kind of let up. He hit him. He didn't know he threw it yet, but he let up, didn't bring him to the ground, so they got to make up their mind with that. I thought Clowney had an outstanding game. That was it for the defense. Absolutely it. J.J. Watt was non-existing in this game. I kept waiting for him to do something. It looked like he was gassed. Looked like he didn't have any moves in this game. I don't know. He was non-existing in this game. I watched a lot of this game too. Very poor tackling in the secondary, linebackers too. And the fact they only lost by 2, I guess, is pretty good. But the Eagles have been a beatable team this year. Nick Foles, credit to him, was excellent. That bomb to Aguilar, stepping up in the pocket, past the pressure, bombs it, perfect. That gets me all excited. I'm not an Eagles fan. Gets me all excited. Nick Foles is the real deal. Said weeks and weeks ago that he's better than Carson Wentz, and I got ripped for it. There was no doubt in my mind. Wentz is the potential guy. I understand playing him, but if you want to win something, Foles should have been in a long time ago. The guy's legit, especially in that offense. Good win for the Eagles, though. Elliott gets that game-winning kick. Credit to him. Yeah, the Texans, man, that tackling sticking with me. It was bad. It was bad, and Watt needs to show up in that game, especially at the end. They're home against Jacksonville. That's good that they're home. They honestly, they can't play like the way they played in this game. They won't win it. I don't care if the Eagles are that much better than the Jags. They won't win it playing like that. They were fortunate it was that close. Good comeback. Josh Adams fumbles, though. Play of the game, though, almost forgot to mention, was Alshon Jeffrey. It was on that roughing the passer that I already mentioned, that they called, threw it up. They were getting 15 yards anyways, but it got added to that. Solid ball, but he did get hit, so maybe it wasn't the best ball because of it, but Alshon Jeffrey goes up and catches it. That is big time. Somebody on the Texans team's got to make a play on that. This defense was awful this week. Absolutely awful, besides Clowney. That guy was everywhere. He had to go step out in the flats. Sometimes it's his job, but there was times where it wasn't his job, and he's beating DBs out there, or he's cleaning up DB's mess out there. I don't know what was going on in this game. Not the Texans team we've seen all year. Let's hopefully they wake up, not just for next week to win their division, but for the playoffs. Obviously they clinch, but you play like that in the playoffs, you ain't going nowhere. Nowhere. I know they put up 30 points, and I know they're 2 points away, but did not like that performance from the Texans. Falcons 24, Panthers 10. Not much to say about this one. Heineke wasn't, I was rooting for him. I'm on his side, but not a good one. Not a good one. He's athletic. It's about it. It's unfortunate to say, but it doesn't take normal quarterback drops. Kind of just backpedals way too much. Panics a little bit under pressure. In the pocket, outside the pocket, he can move a little bit. Throwing across his body wasn't a good idea. Yeah, it wasn't good, unfortunately. Falcons get a win. The game doesn't mean much here. Another game that didn't really, it meant much for the Rams to win, and it was good timing to play the worst team in football in the Cardinals. They beat up on them, so that was good, but the Niners are a much tougher team. Got to go win that, and you got to get ready for the playoffs. You got to win this Niners game this week. Last year, I know they played backups, but I bashed that at the time, playing second, third string guys. You need the momentum going into playoffs, and they lost. So they're going to play their starters. You got to go out and play good football. So don't worry about getting hurt. If you're playing scared, you ain't going nowhere. I always believed in that. So go out there and play, win the game, go in the playoffs, watch other games, get film. Teams change looks in the playoffs, and then move on with your home field in the second round. So that's best case scenario. They got to do it. Goff's got to play a little better. Any kind of pressure, it showed early in this game too. Any kind of pressure, hasn't been good. So they got to figure that out. Early in the year, it was the best offensive line, no pressure. It's an aging offensive line. Veteran guys, they're still good, but let's hope they step it up a little bit in the playoffs. Run blocking's still there though. Moving on, Bears 14, Niners 9. Weird game. I thought both offenses were actually solid going in their own territory until you got into the other team's territory or the red zone. Then it wasn't solid at all. It was bad. And that's what led to the 14-9 scoreline. Howard looked solid for the Bears in this one. Trubisky took care of the ball. Nick Mullins, I thought, was solid under pressure at times. Looked solid. He's been impressing me over the last few weeks. The last play of the game, though, for the Niners, that wasn't good. That was kind of a rookie mistake. I think he could have walked for a first down and not only bombed it in a bad spot, really just threw it out of bounds, too. Didn't really give his guy a chance. So another defensive win for the Bears. They got to score more points. They were able to move the ball. Allen Robinson fumble, I guess, hurt them from scoring a little more points. I saw that coming a mile away. He was just running with the ball loose. Not sure what he was doing with that, but it'll be okay. Nagy will holler at him a little bit. Probably already did, but they'll watch the film and holler at him again, and they'll be okay. 14-9, but another example. The Bears struggling a little bit away. I know the Niners field sloppy. It's tough to play there. They're used to that warm. But the Bears did lose to the Giants away. I know they were without their quarterback. So some of these playoff teams, they're so damn good at home. Like the Bears, so good. They got to play a little better on the road. That 2 seed, if they get that 2 seed, that'll be big time for them. But they got the win here. I don't know if it was really a game that meant much. I guess, for them to play for the 2 seed still. But, you got to imagine the Rams beat the Niners. Never know, though. Steelers 28, Saints 31. A lot of bad penalties in this game. Pass interference. A couple bad ones. There was one Drew Brees asked for, and 10 minutes later they throw a flag. I don't agree with that. There was a 12-man on the field penalty flag thrown, and then they picked it up right away. Did they not count right and threw the flag by mistake, or did they pick up not knowing if there was 12 or 11 guys on the field? It's just the picked up flags this year are disasters, absolutely disasters. But good job to the Saints getting back on offense. Getting those points. I predicted both teams to kind of get going on offense again. It's what should happen. It happened. Antonio Brown was an animal in this game. Unfortunate for Juju Smith to fumble like that. He's a very likable guy. Very good player too. So that was unfortunate. They could have had a chance, but offensive game. Yeah, not my. I didn't like the penalties in this game, but I don't want to keep rant. I've done that too many weeks, rant about the penalties, so I don't want to get into that. So big win for the Saints. That's a tough one for the Steelers. They might miss the playoffs. That's pretty crazy. Chiefs and Seahawks 38-31. Wow, big win for the Seahawks. Huge win for the Seahawks. Losing the Niners last week brings us back to teams not being able to play away. Lost to the Niners last week, home against Chiefs, maybe the best team in football, and they beat them up. Scored 38 points. Chiefs defense, man, they got Chris Jones, they got D Ford, but some other guys too, big name guys, but defense is rough. Very poor tackling. Man, it was rough. But Russell Wilson was throwing some perfect, I mean perfect balls, like crazy. And Doug Baldwin was just outstanding in this game. Chris Carson running over guys. Man, Seahawks team looks good in a game like this. Looks real good, but then games like last week, I don't know. I guess it was penalties they lost and being away. Sloppy field, it's raining. I guess that's a legitimate excuse, but you're going to have to play some good away football in the playoffs. But got to love Russell Wilson, got to love Doug Baldwin. Defense, even though the Chiefs scored 31 points, the defense, that was an impressive game from a defense giving up 31 points. It was to me. They made big plays. That fumble they forced on Conley, that was big time. Yeah, even though 31 points, it's the best offense in football. It looked good to me. You never really say that when a team scores 31, but it looked good. And that's good going for the playoffs, going towards the playoffs. Chiefs, Mahomes is still unreal. He did miss that throw on the left side for that touchdown. I believe it was Kelsey, if I remember correctly. Other than that, Mahomes was ridiculous once again. And once again, he does enough for his team to win the game. So does a guy like Tyreek Hill. So does a guy like Damian Williams. And, man, they're lucky to have him because he's pretty good. And they got their running back there. They thought they were going to be pretty much screwed at the running back position. He's pretty good. He's not Kareem Hunt, but he's pretty damn good. But those guys do enough to win the game, and they can't do it because their defense. And the prime time games, they can't win prime time games. That's going to be big in the playoffs. I like this team a lot. This is the scariest offense in football. Another team I would not want to play because they got freaks, guys that you just can't stop. But number one, the defense. Number two, the coaching. At times, it could be much worse. But like last week against the Chargers, they should put that game away. And number three, the prime time. Did I say that? Defense, coaching, prime time. Three things that scare the heck out of me about the Chiefs. But they got the best player in football, and they do have almost superstars on defense in D Ford and Chris Jones. And they got the talent on offense. But credit to the Seahawks here. Russell Wilson was outstanding. Doug Baldwin, outstanding. Chris Carson. That run game's a little scary. I love a team when they win on the run. Even though I really didn't this game because Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin were great. But number one run team. They won games on the run this year. I like me some old school football, and they take it to another level, and it opens things up for the pass. And that's really what happened, and not just here in most games. So good job to the Seahawks. But again, a lot of these teams need to be home to do this. It's we've seen that in the past. We've seen home field advantage be big, but this year it's not really in the past. It's been because the home team is so good at home. I think it's more of the team away is just not good away. I think it's more of that. What's going to happen in the playoffs? It's going to be weird. I think anybody can win, really, but you got to look at the home teams right now for me. So got another week to analyze. We're going to have plenty of playoff coverage here, playoff content here on our channel. Can't wait for that. I'm predicting 27-21 Broncos win. I think Keenum will play a solid game, but I think it'll be Lindsey all over the place in this one. Raiders have been looking better, though, so they could win this one. Christmas Eve game, Monday. Anything can happen, really. Anything can happen. But I like the Broncos here. I think they need a coaching change because they have talent. They should be better than they are, and I think coaching's cost them games. Raiders, maybe coaching's been costing them a little bit, but they're going to stay put, which I don't mind. 3 draft picks for them. If you're a Raiders fan, you got to be excited for that. I'd be excited for 3 first-round draft picks. That's going to do it, though. Subscriber goals, 10K subscribers. Please help us get there by clicking that button and clicking the like button. We much, much appreciated. Happy holidays to everybody from Frogs and Angels. Hope you guys have an excellent Christmas. That's going to do it, though. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone's support. Goodbye.